Jaguars have been doing some construction all day today. I've been trying to wait for them to stop to start this recording, but it's getting later and later in the day, and I fear that right now they're just cutting something, so my apologies if you guys can hear it. I can't really wait any longer. They've been building something over there for like 3 or 4 days now. That's the reason I didn't put up a video yesterday, but I just can't miss these. So yeah, I'll do my best to try and reduce noise in post or whatever if I can, but I don't know, hopefully they're done soon, because it is quite annoying. Now, this is the joy of having neighbors. Where I used to live, I did not really have any at all, so, man, that is just non-stop over there. Anyways, let's get in now to the weekly predictions. I'm probably gonna go through this relatively quickly. I was not able to watch, let's see, actually I did watch a decent amount of games this week. Who did I watch? I watched Bengals versus Ravens, Jets versus Bills, Vikings versus Broncos, and of course the Chiefs versus the Eagles, which, I thought that's going to end up being a better game than it did end up being. It really wasn't that great of a game. Alright, let's start with the Bengals versus the Ravens. I predicted that the Ravens would get a victory here, and they do. So I start the week off with a W. Final score is 34-20 in favor of the Baltimore Ravens. And here are the notes I took during that game. I said that the Ravens offense starts with the ball, they immediately start rolling. Bengals defense not able to really do anything to stop the offense. Then Mark Andrews, he had a big play, a lot of RAC yardage, but he went down in a lot of pain. He ends up leaving the game. Actually, let me look for an update. Mark Andrews says there's an outside chance that he can return this season. He has surgery on his ankle. I personally would assume that Mark Andrews is probably not going to play again this season. That has to be extremely frustrating. That's a big loss for the Ravens, rather. Touchdown Ravens. I said this could get ugly for Cincinnati because their defense looked bad. Bengals offense just looked completely lackadaisical by comparison. Burrow incomplete on 3rd and 7. McPherson gets a 50-yard field goal. That's good. Bengals defense comes up huge, forces a 3 and out on the next drive. Lamar Jackson goes down, goes into the injury tent. So yeah, we just lost Mark Andrews, but then Lamar Jackson's going into the tent. Big sack on Joe Burrow puts the Bengals at 2-17. McPherson misses a 53-yard field goal. Lamar Jackson ends up going back onto the field. Bengals march down, Burrow to Mixon in the end zone. Bengals take the lead. And then Joe Burrow was trying to throw on the sideline, but there was something wrong with his arm. I said it was like his wrist or something. I'm not exactly sure, but he ends up going back into the locker room. And they were saying he couldn't really lift his arm properly or grip the ball tightly. So I don't know if that was maybe a UCL, maybe it's some nerve damage or something. We'll have to see long term. That's another one I can just look right now. Let's see, Joe Burrow. Will miss the rest of the season with a ligament tear. Yep, so the Bengals are pretty much done. That's their season, I would say. The Ravens' offensive line's looking stout so far, is not allowing many quarterback pressures. Jackson to Aguilar somersaults into the end zone, but there's a flag. It's on the defense. The touchdown is good. Browning is in as backup quarterback for the Bengals. His first pass is a first down conversion, so things started off decently there. With only 7 plays and just 67 seconds, the Ravens go down. They get a touchdown with 20 seconds left in the first half. Edwards starts the Baltimore drive with a massive run. Lamar Jackson scrambles from pressure but loses footing and falls down. Ravens field goal puts them up 11. Huge sack on Browning on 1st and 15 puts the Bengals at 2 and 22. Bengals forced to punt. And I said at this point the game feels like it's over. If the Ravens score, it's going to turn the game off. And then the Ravens put on the field goal, and I turned off the game at that point. I didn't finish it. It's because I had other housework and things like that to do, and the game was pretty much already over at that point. So, but yeah, man, huge win for the Ravens. They go 8-3. The Bengals fall to 5-5. They're 4th in the AFC North, and I think they're probably done this season. Especially with Burrow being out, there's just no real hope. Jake Browning is 8 completions on 14 attempts, 68 yards, a touchdown, no picks. Lamar Jackson has 16 completions on 26 attempts, 264 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. A great game from Lamar Jackson. Next up, we have the Titans versus the Jaguars. I predicted the Jaguars to win this game, and they sure do. They win it by 20. Final score is 34-14 in favor of the Jaguars. I didn't watch this game, but just looking at the stats, it looks like Will Levis had a little bit of a better outing than he did last week. Although he was not asked to do as much as last week, he only threw the ball 17 times, but in those 17 attempts, he connected on 13 of them for 158 yards and 2 touchdowns, and most importantly, for a rookie QB, he did not throw any interceptions this week. Meanwhile, Trevor Lawrence just lit up the stat sheet here. 24 completions on 32 attempts, 262 yards. Trevor Lawrence had 2 passing touchdowns and also 2 rushing touchdowns. 1 for 9 yards, 1 for 5 yards. So these weren't just little QB, tush pushes as it's been coined. And he did not have an interception. Trevor Lawrence, over the last couple seasons, I have criticized him heavily, but we're watching him in real time turn into the quarterback that he was supposed to become, and it's actually really cool to see his development, kind of happening in real time there. Now we have a disaster of a game. I picked the Chargers to win this. They did not, and the Chargers need to make a change here, man. Justin Herbert, they are doing so wrong by him. He is putting his all into this team, and you kind of saw him lose his cool on the sidelines for the first time this game. He's been so patient with his team, but man, the play calling isn't great. The receivers are dropping everything he's throwing. I saw some stat. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, Quentin Johnston dropped that game-winning pass there. He's getting absolutely flamed. He's just, it's brutal. He's going out there and balling out, but his receivers can't do it. Justin Herbert had the highest QB grade by Pro Football Focus this week, and he still lost the game. Brandon Staley he has to be on the hot seat. If Brandon Staley is not on the hot seat, the Los Angeles Chargers are not serious about winning football games, because they have one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now, and they have given him absolutely nothing to work with. Final score here is 23-20 in favor of the Chargers. Justin Herbert has 21 completions on 36 attempts. He threw for 260 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. 27 completions on 40 attempts, 322 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Over 300 yards passing for Jordan Love. They win the game by 3 points. And I've been critical of Jordan Love in past weeks, so I have to give him his flowers here now. He had a fantastic game against a good team, but a bad defense. They need to fix that defense. Okay, moving on now to a shocking game. Giants-Commanders. I picked the Commanders to win this one, I'm pretty sure. Yep, I sure did. And so did everybody else. The Commanders were a 7.5 point favorite coming into this game. But Tommy DeVito and the New York Giants blew him out 31-19. It's very possible that Danny DeVito is the real Danny Dimes here in New York. No, he's not. They still need a QB. Don't do the thing where you fall in love with this guy and he ends up just being some average QB, because that's not what we want to do here. Final score is 31-19. Like I said, Sam Howell last week, I was praising Sam Howell because he looked super good against Seattle. He looked pretty good the week before that as well, but Sam Howell came into this game and just stunk up the joint. Sam Howell had 31 completions on 45 attempts. Now that's not bad. He had 255 yards. That's pretty good. He had 1 touchdown. Okay, that's whatever. 3 interceptions. 3 interceptions for Sam Howell, and one of those was a pick 6 with like 30 seconds left in the game. So just at that point, it's pretty much already over. But that's just the icing on the cake, right? That just buries it. Meanwhile, the hero of today's story, Tommy DeVito, 18 completions on 26 attempts, 246 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Okay. Raiders versus Dolphins. I picked the Dolphins here. As did most people. The Dolphins were a 14.5 point favorite and they won by 7. I think that maybe that's a little bit concerning because this Dolphins team relies heavily on their high-octane offense, and it didn't really show up in this game. Final score is 20-13 in favor of the Dolphins. Aiden O'Connell in there for, man, this is brutal because looking at this, the Raiders actually could have won this game. The Raiders could have won this game. Aiden O'Connell had 3 picks. If he even has 2 picks, they could probably still win this game. This is very concerning for the Dolphins, in my opinion. They only won by 7 against a team with a rookie quarterback who came in halfway through the season. And that rookie quarterback threw 3 interceptions and then they won by 7. If I was a Dolphins fan, I would be a little bit concerned about this. Aiden O'Connell, 24 for 41, 271 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 picks. Tua Tagovailoa, 28 for 39, 325 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Yeah, and the thing is that there was no points in the 4th quarter. 2 field goals for the Dolphins in the 3rd quarter to go up. So they were only winning by 1 at that point. Yeah, they could have lost this game very easily. That's not great. Cardinals versus Texans. I predicted the Texans to win here. I thought CJ Stroud would get it done, and boy howdy. There was a lot of really bad quarterback play this week, man. Tom Brady continues to be correct about the quality of these football games this year is just not good. I don't know what's going on, but there's a lot of bad football being played this year. CJ Stroud had a brutal game. Final score 16-21 in favor of the Texans. That's fine, but Kyler Murray, 20 for 30, yards, a touchdown, a pick. CJ Stroud, 27 completions on 37 attempts, 336 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's all good. But he had 3 interceptions in this game, man. Like, is that like 3 games in a row now where our QB had 3 interceptions? Like, our defense is just getting that good, or I don't know, like, it's crazy down out here. That's especially because this Arizona team, like, it's 2-9. It's not like they're like a great team with a really good defense. I don't like their defense is probably like their one strong suit here, but man, that's brutal. I mean, 3 interceptions. I don't know about that. The Texans are 6-4, but I mean, I'm confident CJ Stroud will clean up his game as he gets more experience, but that's just brutal. Now this game here, you want to talk about concerning games. We got the Bears versus the Lions. Now I predicted the Lions to win it, and they do end up winning it. But if you're a Lions fan, this is a concerning game because they almost lost to this Bears team who had Justin Fields back in at quarterback, mind you. The Bears only win this one by 5. They were a 7.5 point favorite. Final score was 26-31, and I know this game was a parlay buster, bro. I know everyone just pounded this over on their parlays. Yeah, man. Both the Dolphins and the Lions probably getting a little bit nervous looking at some of the teams at them, the power rankings, thinking like, could we beat the Eagles? Could we beat the Chiefs? Could we beat the Niners? Whatever. Because, yeah, they almost lost to this Bears team, bro. They had to come back to win this game at the end. And they got the safety on Justin Fields at the end, but this game could have very easily been a Bears victory. It took heroics. It took legit heroics from Jared Goff for him to beat the Bears. And he threw 3 interceptions. Now the Bears, they do have a pretty good defense. It's definitely not bad. But, I mean, yeah, this Lions team has stumbled a couple times this season, which I've noted. They're 8-2. They're first the NFC North. Like, that's all well and good, and you can't take that away from them. But there's been a couple times this season where they've just had these little stumbles, these little hiccups, and you kind of sit there and you're like, "Are y'all good?" Like, I don't know, man. I don't know how this Bears team is going to perform in the playoffs. Is my thing. Like, in the playoffs, what's going to happen? Justin Fields has 16 for 20, 369 yards, a touchdown, no interceptions. He does get that safety against him at the end, but, I mean, he had to go for heroics there. Jared Goff goes 23 for 35, 236 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Like I said, 3 interceptions, pretty concerning there. That's like, what, 4 games in a row now where a quarterback threw 3 interceptions, right? Sam Howell, Jared Goff, and then, CJ Stroud had 3, Aiden O'Connell had 3. Like, why is everyone just throwing interceptions? Like, just hold on to the ball, man. Don't do that. Steelers versus Browns. I predicted the Browns to win here. They barely did. I should have watched this game. It sounded like it was a pretty good one, but a lot of Steelers fans finally got their wish. And after this game, Matt Canada, the offensive coordinator, was fired. And I know a lot of Steelers fans had been calling for this some of them since the beginning of the season. A lot of people really did not like his offensive system. And you look at this was a very winnable game for them. It was a 3-point game against the Browns, who had a backup quarterback in. What's going on? I want to see what's going on with Deshaun here, because he played last week, but he was hurt before that. Did he get hurt again? Yeah, so he ended up, it slipped my mind, I knew that, but yeah, he ended up getting season-ending shoulder surgery on his throwing arm. So they have Dorian Thompson-Robinson in at QB, and the Steelers are unable to beat them. Now the Browns have perhaps the best defense in the NFL. I used to say one of the best, but looking at it now, I feel comfortable saying it is the best in the NFL. And even with their backup QB, and who was unable to throw a single touchdown, they still were able to get the win here. And that definitely is an indictment on Matt Canada, that he couldn't scheme up a way to beat this team that is so hobbled on offense at the moment. But what's crazy is the Browns and the Chiefs have the exact same record. Both teams are 7-3, but the Chiefs have actually scored more total points than the Browns have scored more points than the Chiefs this season, and they haven't had Deshaun Watson for much of this season, which is just crazy. And we're going to talk about that when I talk about the Eagles and Chiefs later, some concerns I have about their offense. But yeah, the Browns team is kind of like a sneaky little team. I don't think they'll make much noise in the playoffs, but they were able to get a rival's offensive coordinator fired, although it might be to the benefit of said rival. Kenny Pickett has 15 completions on 28 attempts. He has 168 passing yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Dorian Thompson-Robinson has 24 completions on 43 attempts, 165 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. This game actually seems like it was kind of just a defensive slugfest. Honestly, I'm kind of glad I didn't watch it. I feel like I would have been a little bit bored out of my mind there. Cowboys, Panthers. I predicted the Cowboys here. Pretty much everybody did. I'm sure you don't have to be a rocket scientist there to predict that one. A rocket surgeon. 33-10 is your final score in favor of the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott, 25 completions, 38 attempts, 189 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Bryce Young, 16 completions on 29 attempts, 123 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. The Panthers dropped to 1-9. 1-9 is a crazy place to be. I knew they were going to be bad this season, but man, I expected them to be a little bit better than this. We may not be in the Cowboys. This might be a bad week to bring this up, but yeah, I don't know. Bucks versus Niners. I got the Niners here. And apparently they're doing a one-piece collaboration with the Los Angeles Rams. Why didn't they do it with the Buccaneers? The Buccaneers are a pirate-themed team, but they're doing a collab with the Rams. It doesn't really make sense to me unless I know there's a large Asian population in LA compared to Tampa Bay, so maybe it's just that sort of thing, but thematically it doesn't make sense. Anyway, 27-14 is your final score here in favor of the Niners. Brock Purdy, all these other guys throwing 3 picks. Brock Purdy threw 3 touchdowns as well as 333 yards. I'm sure there's some conspiratorially minded people thinking that there's some numerical symbolism there. 21 completions on 25 attempts. Baker Mayfield, 29 for 45, 246 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. And do I have to talk about it? Do I have to? Can I just skip this game, please? these. Seahawks, Rams. I guess I'm gonna have to talk about it. There is a certain contingent of Seattle Seahawks fans that I can only, classify as, a weird cult-like behavior around Geno Smith. There was a period in this game where Geno Smith was hurt, so Drew Lock came in. And Drew Lock looked really bad in the limited amount of snaps he played this game. And there was a bunch of Seahawks fans who are just do you guys still want Drew Lock? Oh, do you guys still hate Geno? You still think we should get rid of Geno? Yes. Yes. Yes, I do. Get rid of both of them. They're both trash. They are both trash. What do you mean? Oh, do you still hate Geno Smith? Yes, I hate Geno Smith. I don't hate Geno Smith, but I don't want him to be the quarterback of my football team any longer. People acting like Geno Smith is not garbage because somehow Drew Lock is even more garbage are insane to me. And it's like this weird cult-like mentality around Geno Smith. I don't know if it's because of his comeback story or what it is. I don't know what about him has warranted this messianic worship of him. But it's insanity, and every time I push back against this, I feel like I get shouted down about it. People are so bought into this Geno Smith. No. If this dude is on the team next season, we are screwed. We need to either draft, we need to do both. We need to draft a quarterback in the draft, trade up, get a guy I don't even know, I think Williams is one of the guys. Or get Penix, however you say it, whatever the best available QB and our draft spot in the first round is, draft that guy. I don't care who it is. Draft that guy. Let's see. Let's look at the quarterback draft class. So obviously we're not going to get Caleb Williams. Maybe Drake May. We're not getting Shadur Sanders. No, I don't want him. J.J. McCarthy, Michael Penix, Bo Nix. Get one of those guys. Whichever guy you think is the best who's ever available on the board, I don't care. Just get him. Because we have to. And then either get a free agent QB, get somebody off of the free agent market to come in, replace Geno and mentor the young quarterback, or let the young guy run the offense year one if he's good enough. I don't care. Geno Smith is making me lose my mind. I didn't watch this whole game, so I didn't take notes on it, but bro, I was I watched some bits and pieces of this game, and Geno Smith is the lowest IQ quarterback, I swear. Our third down conversions were non-existent. We missed 10 straight third down conversions at one point in this game. 10 straight. And this is a game where DK Metcalf, became the fastest ever Seattle Seahawks QB to, a certain number of yards or touchdowns or something. And we couldn't even celebrate that because we lost the game. Because Jason Myers missed a field goal at the end that he shouldn't have even had to have been forced to make. I'm just so done with Geno Smith. I'm so done with the way that this offense is being run with Geno Smith in, because they don't trust him to make the big plays. We run these stupid plays. But if you don't trust him to make the big plays, then get a different quarterback who you do trust to make the big plays. And then we brought in Drew Lock, and they start running these stupid little short passes, screen, run up the middle, but the other team knows that that's what you're going to do because you don't trust Drew Lock, so they're not even going to scheme you for a pass. This team is so frustrating this season, and the problem is the NFC is so bad that even though we're probably about to lose our next 4 games straight, the Seattle Seahawks might still sneak into the playoffs. And then fans are going to be like, oh, but this is a playoff team. We can't get rid of Geno. We got us to the playoffs. And I'm going to scream. I'm going to scream off of a rooftop. Anyway, that's my rant. 17-16 favored the Rams. Your final score. Geno Smith goes 22 for 34, 233 yards, a touchdown, no picks. Matthew Stafford 17 for 31, 190 yards, one touchdown, one pick. Jets Bills. I predicted the Jets here. I wasn't confident in that prediction. And the Bills just absolutely did blow them out. Thankfully, I did watch the game. I turned it on with 12 minutes and 12 seconds left in the first quarter. The Bills were already up 3-0 at that point. The Jets, they were at 4-20. They have to punt. The Bills were going to the short pass early, not really testing the secondary too much. Josh Allen, he's pressured, scrambles, 3rd and 8 in the red zone, forced to throw it away. Bills stack on another field goal. Zach Wilson, he gets sacked on a 2nd down blitz. Sets up a 3rd and 19. Bills stack on a 3rd field goal. And I said the game isn't very great so far. Very boring game. The Jets offensive line just not holding up at all early. The run game for the Bills, though, very effective. Bills try to get the Jets to jump offside on a 4th and 7. They don't call a timeout. They take a delay of game. Zach Wilson gets intercepted by Douglas. 5 minutes left in the first half, and at that point I was thinking the game is already over. James Cook wide open in the end zone for the Bills, and I said now the game's over. Jets receivers unable to get any sort of separation from the defense. 2 Bills players get hurt on the same play. Rapp ends up getting stretchered off the field. And I have one request for the NFL. Whenever a player gets hurt during a Bills game, can you please stop cutting to a shot of Damar Hamlin every single time? Like it doesn't. We don't need to see Damar Hamlin every time a player gets into an ambulance, bro. Like, please stop this. It's getting really annoying. Jets finally get down to the red zone. Brees Hall gets a touchdown before the second half. And I was like, well, now I can't turn this game off because it just got interesting. Second half, there's a fight pretty much right at the start, but then the Bills tack on another touchdown. I said I might be turning this game off early as well. Wilson to Wilson, he fumbles the ball. Buffalo picks it up, runs it in for a touchdown, but it's ruled down by contact, and the touchdown comes off the board. And that's kind of about when I stopped paying too much attention to this game. It was just totally one-sided at that point, 32-6 in favor of the Bills. Zach Wilson ends up getting sat this game, and I think they said that going forward, they're gonna have a different QB. Hold on. Yep, Zach Wilson. The Jets bench Zach Wilson. They're going to start Tim Boyle at quarterback versus the Dolphins. So, Zach Wilson, his career is probably done, at least in New York. Somebody might pick him up as a bench option, but, I mean, I've been critical of Zach Wilson since the day he was drafted. I got some pushback for that at some point back in the day on this channel, but at this point I don't think anybody can defend him anymore. Zach Wilson goes 7 for 15, 81 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Josh Allen, 20 completions on 32 attempts, 275 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Vikings versus Broncos. I predicted the Broncos here. I crossed it off early on my card, don't know why. I think that was a little bit of a controversial pick on my behalf, but it ended up working out in my favor. The Broncos win this one 21-20, and they get to 500 on the season. And don't look now, but the Broncos look good. They look dangerous. Russell Wilson is starting to play really well. He's been one of the better quarterbacks in the league over the last few weeks. I think this is now their 4th win in a row. Opening drive here. Dobbs rushes, he fumbles the ball, and Denver recovers. This just happens like immediately out of the gate and kind of sets the tone for the rest of the game. Denver can't convert the 3rd and 15. They kick a field goal. I said that Dobbs is getting pressured heavily early on. He gets nearly intercepted on 3rd down. That sets up a 4th and 8. Dobbs scrambles. He breaks the sack. Short pass to a wide open Josh Oliver in the end zone, and that was a fantastic play. He's had some really good highlight reel plays in Minnesota so far. That was one of them. Denver offense unable to get much going so far. It looked very flat. Dobbs gets swallowed up in a sack on 3rd and goal. Minnesota's forced to kick. The first big play of the game for the Broncos then happens. Russ to Sutton for 10+ yards. Russ airs it deep to the end zone with 10 seconds left in the first half. That's incomplete. But then Broncos hit a 52-yard field goal to end the half down 1. The Broncos get the ball to start the second half. That drive goes nowhere. Vikings. Dobbs ends up throwing an interception, but there's a flag. And a certain pass interception takes the interception away. Dobbs scrambles for 10 yards to the end zone for a Vikings touchdown. Denver can't get anything going. Minnesota gets the ball back. And then Madison fumbles, and the ball's recovered by Denver, and Madison kind of becomes the story of the game here for Minnesota. But I feel like he's kind of being a scapegoat here watching this game in full. The team was never really playing that well. There's back-to-back huge runs for Denver. The drive ends in another field goal, and I said Denver needs to get a stop and a touchdown if they want to win this game. Start of the next drive, and Dobbs throws an interception to McMillan. Denver has life now with the ball in the red zone. Wilson to Judy in the end zone, almost a touchdown, but it's in and out of his hands, and then Denver has to settle for yet another field goal. And I said that at this point, Dobbs has thrown a lot of 50-50 balls, so a lot of Vikings fans were talking about Madison and kind of scapegoating him, but this loss, Dobbs did not look good at all. Vikings, they have a great fake. It sets up a huge run for Mims. Vikings convert the 4th and 1 to keep their drive alive. Dobbs is pressured. He gets sacked on 3 and 10. Vikings are forced to take a field goal. Denver gets the ball back down 5 with 3 minutes left in the game. And I said at this point, let's see what happens. 4th down, Wilson to Sutton with a one-handed reception to keep the drive alive. And for me, that's the play of the game here. Denver fumbles, but the ball rolls out of bounds. Wilson gets pressured, drops back into Sutton in the end zone touchdown. They go for 2, but it's no good. And Minnesota has 1 minute left in the game to respond. Minnesota converts the 4th and 1. Jets, Justin Simmons has been everywhere on defense for Broncos late in the 4th quarter. He's the reason that the Minnesota didn't do better in this final minute here. Dobbs gets pressured on 3rd and 10. Drops back, throws the ball away as he is sacked, and it's called an intentional grounding. And I said the Vikings offensive line just completely collapsed when it mattered most in the game, and the Broncos end up winning this game by a single point. Crazy performance. Josh Dobbs has 20 completions on 32 attempts, 221 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Russell Wilson, 27 for 35, 259 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Fantastic game. And finally, Eagles versus Chiefs. I predicted the Eagles to win here, and they did. This might be my best week for predictions yet. I said going into this game, this might be the best football game of the season. And unfortunately, it kind of wasn't. This game did not live up to expectations for me, and I'll talk a little bit about that through my notes here, but Chiefs start with a 3-and-out. Mahomes to Watson. Chiefs get the first touchdown of the game. The Eagles offense comes back on the field, starts chipping out yardage. Swift runs it in for the Eagles game-tying touchdown. Next Eagles drive, Jalen Hurts gets intercepted, but then Mahomes gets intercepted right back. Eagles don't make them pay. They're forced to punt. Chiefs get a huge punt return. Mahomes to Kelsey for the touchdown. First play of the next drive, Hurts gets sacked. He almost fumbles it but recovers, and it's 2nd and 19. 3rd and 15, Hurts runs and is brought down. And at that point, the Kansas City defense is just swarming that offensive line. And I said so far, both the Phillies lines not doing so well. The pass rush is non-existent. Mahomes has all day in the pocket. Chiefs stack on a field goal going into halftime. They're up 10, and at that point, I thought the Eagles were cooked. They did not look good at all in the first half of this game. Second half, there's a QB draw on 3rd and 7. Hurts gets swallowed up. The Eagles start the second half with a punt. And the offensive line was just doing absolutely nothing to defend Hurts at that point. Back-to-back 3-and-outs for each team. And the Chiefs are doing a good job of shutting down A.J. Brown as an option. Hurts just unable to get the ball into his hands very much this game. Jalen Hurts rushes in for a touchdown, pulls the Eagles within 3 points. Chiefs go for it on 4th and 1. They run the ball down the middle, converted. Chiefs were killing the clock, chunking up short yardage. But then the next pass is fumbled by Kelsey, and the Eagles recover. And I said the Eagles have the opportunity to take control of the game. But then the ball pops out the receiver's hands on the Eagles' first play. Thankfully for them, not a turnover, almost is. Hurts runs on 3rd down. He's brought down just short of the line. Eagles offense goes 3-and-out, unable to punish the turnover. And I noted that was twice now that the Eagles have designed a quarterback run on 3rd and long, which is just really weird play calling in my opinion. I'm not sure why you would do that. Chiefs forced to punt on the next drive. Both teams' offenses have stalled out so far. And I said at that point the next team to score probably wins the game. And then the Eagles get the touchdown. Chiefs have 6 minutes to answer it, but I felt like the game was over. And the Eagles go up 4, so the Chiefs need to get a touchdown. A field goal does not cut it. 3rd and 12, Mahomes scrambles, throws the ball as he's pressured, incomplete. Kansas City offense completely disappeared in the second half of the game. I said it was extremely concerning. Eagles get pushed back to 3rd and 23 punt. Kansas City has one more chance at getting a touchdown. They convert the 4 and 2. They march down the field, 2-minute warning. Roughing the passer tacks on extra 15 yards, and then Mahomes is a wide open Valdez-Scantling right into the end zone, but he drops the ball. He was wide open. It was a perfectly placed pass, and he dropped the ball. That's one of the most unbelievable things. I was so angry, and I'm not even a Chiefs fan. Then Mahomes gets pressured, sacked on 3rd down, intentional grounding. 4th and 25, Mahomes goes deep to Kelsey, incomplete, game over. And what this game showed me is Kansas City desperately needs some better receivers. Their wide receiver core, for as elite of a team as they are, is lackluster, and it has not been properly addressed. And they need to get that fixed. I don't know. Next, they need to go all in on wide receivers for next season. They really do. But hey, I did pretty good this week. I went 10 for 14. And I just got a new phone, so we're gonna use the calculator for the first time on this phone to do my. So we do 10 divided by 14. And we got 71% correct this week. Really happy about that. And we go 464 on the season. And if we do 97 divided by 164, we get 59%, so we're getting a little bit better. And there we go, that's this week in the books. I really apologize, I hope the background noise isn't too bad. I did a lot of cutting around in real time here, but pausing the recording and unpausing to try and avoid it as much as I could. I hope it isn't too jarring. Hopefully that construction's done soon. I don't have to worry about it, but they're like building a shed or something. I don't even know. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel for more content just like this almost every single day. And until next time, guys. Bye-bye.